In the British tech tree lives a forgotten fighter, one all too easily ditched in the grind for Spitfires or Hurricanes. A fighter that embodies the British spirit to continue against overwhelming odds, the Gloster Gladiator. Designed by Henry Philip Folland in response to Air Ministry Specification F.7/30, this called for an interceptor armed with 4 machine guns and a top speed of at least 314 km per hour or 195 miles per hour. First flying in 1934, the Gladiator wouldn't fly with the RAF until 1937. By the time she took off, she was already clearly outdated next to the brand new monoplanes that were rolling off the line, like the Bf-109, the Hurricane, and the Supermarine Spitfire. Still, she ended up being equipped with the superb Browning 303 caliber machine gun, the same gun that would down so many German aircraft during the Battle of Britain when strapped to a Spitfire. The Mark I Gladiator was powered by the Bristol Mercury Mark IX that produced 825 horsepower. This propelled the Type to 407 km per hour or 253 miles per hour. The Mark II would switch its propeller for a Fairy 3-blade and introduce the Mercury Mark VIII to the Type. A notable subtype is the Sea Gladiator. It came in 2 models, one retrofitted for carrier operations and one designed for it, with vaguely similar performance to the land-based aircraft. Pilots praised its maneuverability and hitting power compared to the older biplanes. The Gladiator flies essentially exactly how you'd expect a British Gladiator to fly, or a British biplane to fly. Great maneuverability, solid armament, terrible energy generation, and terrible energy retention. So essentially, no matter what I do here, I'm screwed, unless I get into a turn fight. And even in a turn fight, there are quite a few enemy aircraft, especially on the Japanese side, which fortunately is on my side this time, that can outturn me. Different nations around the world, and they did perform admirably, especially in the first bit of World War II. After the first bit of World War II, as you can probably gather, a biplane is not the correct sort of plane you want to be flying if you want to, survive. Anyway, I did manage to bank enough altitude over that I-15. I think I'm going to be okay. I don't think he has enough energy to boom up to me. And that was the main thing we were trying to prevent there. The Gladiator, you will notice, has this annoying habit of pitching up when you're going fast. Like that. Do you see that? Threw off my aim entirely. It happens. You'll get used to it, or you won't. I definitely have not got used to it yet, but I can do good enough with it. As you see, the 303s actually do hit surprisingly hard. Considering what they are, it's pretty amazing just how well they do. Check behind. A BB-1. It is going to be I think it's a Japanese, is it? Honestly, I have no idea. It can't be Japanese because they're on my team, so... Firing a bit too far out, even for me there. Nice severe damage. Yeah, there is a rear gunner. That's a bin. Lovely. That's legendary gladiators, which I'm going to get to just as soon as this battle ends. And they acquitted themselves very well. But in terms of overall service of the Gloster Gladiator in World War II, well, Battle of France, obviously they participated quite a lot in. They did go to Finland on Lend-Lease against the Soviets. An interesting tactic when you consider whose side the Finnish actually ended up being on. But what are you going to do, right? And overall, in the Portuguese armed forces, they were retired in 1953, if I remember correctly. The British retired them in 1944. So for a little biplane, solid. A solid performance record. And now abideth faith, hope, charity, these 3. The engagement the Gloster Gladiator is most known for is the defense of Malta. Malta is a tiny island in the Mediterranean Sea. It happens to be a vital strategic location for control of the Suez Canal and the Strait of Gibraltar, much to the islanders' discomfort. From 1940 to 1942, Malta was subjected to the most concentrated bombing campaign in the history of warfare. On the first day alone, 55 Italian bombers hammered the tiny island. The island lacked fighters to defend itself. Air Commodore Foster Maynard happened upon 10 crates in a forgotten warehouse, left behind by a visiting aircraft carrier. These crates contained Gloster Gladiators. Only 6 were assembled and only 3 flew at any one time. These few defenders of the island would be known as Faith, Hope, and Charity. The pilots were volunteers and were not experienced in fighter operations. A legendary sortie consisted of a single Gladiator staring down 75 Italian aircraft. The Gladiators were much too slow to engage the Italian bombers traditionally, and relied on surprise and tactics to win the day. The Gladiators on Malta shot down a few Italian aircraft, to the loss of only 1 Gladiator. Although their planes did not do significant damage against the attacking force, they did interrupt a few raids and perhaps, more importantly, were a shining light of hope for the islanders. The entire island of Malta would receive the George Cross, the highest recognition of valour given for non-operational gallantry. The Gloster Gladiator was outdated, outgunned, and outnumbered. But when democracy teetered on the brink, she performed well above her calling, and thanks to her pilot's gallant actions, the Gloster Gladiator deserves the title of legend.